Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Now in today's video, I am going to be going over and showing you very similarly to my last video where I showed you just a breakdown of essentially how to make 10K per month. I'm going to do the same thing today in this video, but with the average US salary, because I think that's a bit more realistic than going straight to 10K per month. But before we get into it, if you could please hit the like button, subscribe down below if you want to, and turn the notifications on so you don't miss a future video. Go follow me over on Twitter. Take a look at the Discord, the links in the description. And with that being said, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Always do your own research and be very careful about what you're investing in crypto and DeFi because it is the riskiest stuff in the world. And there are still some risks involved in yield farming, such as impermanent loss, exposure to dexes that could get exploited, that kind of thing. So always keep that in mind when looking into crypto. There's always risk no matter what kind of field or sort of niche in DeFi you go down. But I'm going to leave two links in the description. One of them is going to be for Crystal. Crystal, just use the link in the description. You can use their swap feature and you're going to get these, or you can do all of these tasks essentially, and you can get crystal points or crystals, sorry, which turn into crystal tokens when they do launch. So you're essentially farming free money by utilizing the DEX that we use for DeFi, for yield farming anyway. Even if you swap, right, if you just use this as your main DEX to swap tokens, which uses Uniswap v3's API, so it's pretty much similar to Uniswap. You're going to get 10 crystals for every $1 you swap. So $100, you're going to get 1,000 crystals, etc. So that can stack up pretty quick. There's a bunch of other stuff you can do. You can manage your positions in here as well. But we just use this for the Explorer. Mainly I do anyway. But I'm also going to leave a link down to Aperture. Same sort of thing. You can just we use this to manage our positions. As you see in each of my yield farming videos, when I do my update videos, I always go into Aperture to show you the updates. And again, just by using this, you're going to get points, which will turn into Aperture tokens when they do launch. So I'll leave these two links in the description. And with that said, let's jump into it. So I've just done a quick Google search, and the average US salary is $59,384, which I'm just going to call this 60K, just for easy math's sake, right? So that means 60K divided by 12 is about $5,000 a month. So full-time income, our goal is 5K per month, right? Which if we do $5,000 per month and we divide that by 30 days, that's going to leave us with about $166 a day that we need to be earning. Okay, so $166 a day to be earning, pretty not too bad actually. That's not as high as I thought the average US salary would be. Now, of course, there's some people making way higher than that in the US, some people making way lower than that. That's kind of just slap bang in the middle. So I know in my last video I did 10K per month, but in this one we are going to go over just the full-time average US salary to start with, because with 10K, go and watch that video if you haven't already. You'll see exactly, I kind of broke down an example portfolio. Again, it's all just examples. Don't just straight carbon copy this. Make sure you do your own research into all of them, but I'm just showing you what's possible. But I thought I'd do one with the average US salary, and then I'll do one with a lot less allocation needed, but it's going to be a lot higher risk. I'll do that one in a few days from now. But yeah, we're going to do the full-time income, which is 5K per month. So let's start having a look at some of these positions. So again, I definitely wouldn't recommend using Ethereum blockchain and providing liquidity on Ethereum unless you have a significant amount to put in one single position, because of gas fees and all that good stuff. Ethereum is not your friend when it comes to yield farming, unless, again, you've got like high 5, low 6 figures at least to put into a single position, which not a lot of people do. So let's take a look at these other chains that have not so many gas fees, right? So what I would probably be looking at is Polygon, AVAX, Aerodrome, Base, and Optimism. So kind of these. You can look at BNB. I used to provide liquidity on BNB back when DeFi first ever came around, back in 2020. But I'm not really going to count BNB in this video just because there's kind of limited opportunities here. But let's take a look at Polygon to start with, right? So if we go over to Polygon network, you can see on Crystal gives you the best APR pairs, it gives you the best blue chip pools and the best stablecoin pools. Okay, so let's start with something pretty simple like USDC and ETH is getting 353.14% right now. Now, of course, again, guys, this is just a sort of video just as an example, right? I'm not going to get into the depths of going in and selecting ranges and talking about impermanent loss because we know all of that stuff, right? You have to pick your range, and there's most likely you're going to face some impermanent loss throughout the journey. But if you're in range, as long as you're earning fees, that's the main thing that we are worrying about. So USDC and ETH on Matic, 353.14%. So 353.14. And that is going to be WETH and USDC. And that is going to be on Polygon. And that is going to be on Uniswap. Okay. And let's just put a percentage sign there. So I'll fill in these allocations in a minute, but we're just getting a good sort of 5 to 6 pools is probably decent. Anything over than 10 is a bit kind of dramatic in my opinion, just because it's difficult to manage all of that. Diversification is great, and you do need to diversify it, but you don't need to diversify it too crazy. Okay, let's take a look at some of these AVAX positions here. I don't think I covered AVAX in my last video, so it'll be good to have a look at AVAX. Actually, these are all Trader Joe positions, which I'm not going to show because that gets down a little bit of a deeper rabbit hole. I did cover Trader Joe positions a while ago, actually, when they were sort of pumping. But anyway, that's besides the point. So let's have a look at Aerodrome. Let's see here. Nothing really too enticing on the best blue chip pools here. Let's take a look at base. Best blue chips. And again, you don't necessarily want to diversify in the same tokens on the same chain. I do have an ETH and USDC position on 2 chains, but you don't need to do that. Okay, that's just, again, you don't need to do that, especially when you're starting out. So over on base, again, the best blue chip pools, nothing too really enticing here. Let's take a look at Optimism. Optimism could be a decent position, OP and USDC, but let's see what that's currently providing in terms of APR. So we've got USDC and OP 100%. We've got Link and USDC at 154. So yeah, let's include this one. Link and USDC at 164.62%. Link and USDC. Link and USDC 164. 164.42%. Right, and again, percent. And let's put this over on, this is going to be Optimism. And it's going to be on Uniswap as well. Okay, so now we have our second position. So these are 2 blue chip pools that we have now added on here. Right, if you don't like Link, then you can come in here and do some research on other tokens like this. USDC and Optimism pools, not bad either. Okay, you can have a look at Blast. If you're farming Blast Gold, then farming either on Thruster on Blast could be a good idea. If you are farming Blast Gold, if you're not though, don't worry too much about it, right? Okay, let's go back to base actually, because we could add one in here that's a bit of a riskier position, but it's going to get you there quicker with not as much exposure, right? So if we come over to Crystal and have a look at some of these tokens, you can see again, I like Brett, okay? I like this meme coin Brett. So you could add something like this, but let's add USDC and Aero here at 211.2%. So let's go ahead and add that. But if you do like a stable coin, a meme coin, then you could go ahead and add that into your portfolio. But again, I'm not going to do this for the sake of the video. But if you want to do that, a very, very, very low allocation, then you can get some crazy APRs, right? You can go up to 1,300% right now on a meme coin, which is pretty crazy. So where was that? USDC and Aero pool 211.12%. So 211.12%. And this is on base on Uniswap. So now we've covered 3 different networks, right? Polygon, Optimism, and Base, which are all solid networks, and you won't have any issue with these. And we are at 3. Now let's add our 4th and 5th position. So what we can do is we could go over to something like Aerodrome. So for these last 2 positions, I'm going to pick one from one of these 3 apps. 2 from one of these 3 dApps, right? It's going to be Aerodrome, Extra Finance, and Turbos, but let's see what we've got going on. So if we filter by APR, Okay, you can see some of these crazy APRs. Now you have to be wary that the higher the APR, typically the more risk you're taking on in terms of the actual token, the underlying asset, because you have more volatility in that token because there's a crazy high APR. So if we take a look to see what's actually doing pretty well right now, let's go to like the second page potentially with a bit less risk here in the 200% range. You know what? I know what position I'm going to add. It's going to be this similar to the one that I added in the last video, which is going to be, actually, let's take a look and see what the APR is for it now. Yeah, OVN and USD plus. I'm in this position personally. This has over $24 million in TVL and a lot of trading volume and a lot of fees. And it's, as long as you do your research on the OVN token, make sure you do your research on any token that you want to provide liquidity for. That's super important. But I'm going to select this pool, OVN and USD plus for 188.43%. Let's go ahead and put this in here. So we've got OVN and USD plus for 188.42%, I believe it was. And this is going to be on base. And this is going to be on Aerodrome. Now, another good thing about Aerodrome is that you are providing liquidity and you're getting Aero as the reward token, which means that you can, if you like Aero, you can lock it up and get extra incentives. I may make a video on this, or you can just kind of store this Aero, lend it out on other protocols and get an extra yield on your Aero. And then we have one last position. I did say 5, we've got 4. So let's do one last one here. Now, this could either be from extra finance. Extra finance is a bit different because you're taking on some leverage. It's a bit riskier. But if you take a look at like the APY, on Wheat and Wells, which I'm in this position, right? Okay, we can't, but let's just use this as an example. You can't actually use this at the moment because there's no sufficient Wheat available to borrow, but you can get 1.94% per day on this, right? Which is pretty crazy. So it could either be one from extra finance or you could take one from turbos, for example. This SUI and USDC pool, I do like the SUI token. I believe there's a few other unlocks coming out. It's a bit less risky in my opinion than something like extra because you're not taking on leverage. But in my DGEM video, which will be coming up, I will definitely show you some more in-depth into extra finance and taking out leverage for yield farming and stuff like that. But again, it is a lot riskier because you are taking on leverage. So make sure you know what you're getting involved in. But let's take a look at SUI and USDC for 363%. So 363.87% on SUI and USDC. So we've got SUI and USDC here for 364.87%. Okay, and this is going to be on SUI and this is going to be on turbos. So now we have our portfolio kind of dialed in, right? We have a decent selection of networks. We've got Polygon, Optimism, Base, and SUI, and we've got Uniswap, Aerodrome, and turbos. So we've diversified. We've got 3 dexes. We've got 3 different chains. We've got 5 positions and decent APRs, all in the three figures. So now let's put in this allocation and see how much we're going to make daily and monthly, and then I'll come back to you in a second with an update. Okay, so I've done some numbers here, and of course you can play around with this. Of course, this is just a portfolio for demonstration purposes, but we have WETH and USDC at $6,000. Again, you can't really go wrong with WETH and USDC. Very safe in my opinion. Ethereum, you know what you're getting involved in, with an APR of 353%, daily income of $60 almost, $58. Link and USDC, we got 2,500 in there. USDC and Aero got $5,000 in there. OVN and US plus $2,500, and SUI and USDC 6K. So you've got a total of $22,000, right, with an APR of 252.52% average, with a daily income of 167,000 and a monthly income of 5K. Now, of course, this is, you can play around with this. This is a slightly riskier portfolio in terms of OVN and SUI being these two are slightly riskier tokens, especially if you haven't done your research on both of them. You need to do your research, but this is something pretty, pretty nice little portfolio here of 22K with about $5,000 per month, which is hitting the average US salary. So again, just another example here of what you can do. I will do another video in a couple of days from now with a lot more risk, but you're going to be making a lot more money. 252% a year which is about 20% a month or so, is pretty decent. That's pretty good in DeFi with yield farming. That's pretty, it's very attainable. So if you're managing them and whatnot and just keeping an eye on the rebalancing and stuff like that. So 22K, which isn't too bad actually. That's not bad at all. Considering to make 10K a month, we need about 50K. 22K to make 5K isn't too bad. Yeah, you're taking on a little bit more risk, but that's not too bad whatsoever, in my opinion. So 22K to make 5K per month isn't bad. Isn't bad at all. Now, the good thing about yield farming is you can build a portfolio pretty nicely by just reinvesting fees or collecting fees. What I do is I collect fees every Monday, and I put them, I bridge them over to Polygon network, and I kind of keep them there until I find a new pool. And the reason for Polygon is just personal preference, low gas fees and whatever. And it's how, with my off ramp, they accept USDT on Polygon anyway, so it just makes that easier for me to cash out and stuff like that when I need to. But and then I find a position that I want to go in and just kind of diversify. So if you're making 5K per month, you could go ahead and put this 5K for the first month into a new pool and make an extra $30 a day, right? For example, like this one here, we have 5K in here, I'm making $30 a day. So you could take this after the first month, put that into another position and increase your daily income by $30. So that's a good thing about DeFi is you can snowball pretty quickly with yield farming. You can snowball pretty quickly and, have a decent large portfolio with just reinvesting, which is pretty awesome. And that is one thing that I do love about DeFi is you can get started with a lower amount and kind of build up. So this could be a goal for you to hit, for you to make 5K a month. You could have a goal of 100K, a 6-figure portfolio, which will take a bit longer, but you're going to be pretty sustainable there. You don't need to take much risk at all to make a decent income from that. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know if this helps, and I'll be doing more of these videos coming up because it seems like a lot of you enjoyed that video yesterday. But thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and let me know down below what other videos you want to see, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.